Hello, it's me, that guy you know, or maybe forgotten at this point. It's me, Majunda or whatever I call myself. It's been, a year since I last uploaded. You guys remember when I said I was going to get back into it? When I made that last update? Oops, a lot happened. If it wasn't pretty evidently, pretty obvious. But I'm back, and I'm here to talk about, this game. I'm still playing this game, been playing this game since, its launch. But let's just kind of delve right in. I have I got a couple things to talk about, but main thing is this is mostly just gonna be me rambling like usual. I don't have a guest on today. We'll have to see who I can get on later. But I guess first thing to talk about is the current state of the game, and that this game has kind of been trudging along in a weird state. Not exactly a limbo, but it's not exactly, the best the game's, been in. There's been a lot that's happened, especially since the Jam City acquirement and then Ludia pulling themselves out of their weird circle, their weird pit of, their reliance on Jam City. But now we're at a point that things might start going back to normal. Who knows? There's been major developments, but mainly, if any of we've all noticed. But in general, there's been a weird kind of change to how these updates have been coming out. It's not like how it used to be, where there was a big patch notes, it had all of the things involved, had every creature planned to being added, and thing is, every creature was available day one. That's not the case anymore. Ever since I want to say 2023. Mid 2023, something around those times, there was a change of the release order and whatnot, and that, and this is almost purely because of Jam City's influence. Just look at all the other things Jam City runs and operates, and you'll see why. But it's been these updates now come out with a bit of this drip feed kind of going on, and in general, I have mixed feelings about this. Part of me feels that it's a good thing because hey, they're letting a lot of these things shine, especially allowing for these new regular creatures to have their week in the spotlight before these new crazy awful looking Apex hybrids, and we'll get to get to the designs of these recent things eventually. But for example, this past week has been Centrosaurus's whole thing, and the week prior or so was Nanotyrannus, and so on. And the new features added to the game since, because last time I believe I covered anything in Jurassic World Live on this channel was, I think, shortly after Brawl had came out. If you're wondering about the state of Brawl, it's generally a little better. It's still very grindy. There's still a lot of weird decisions, but in general, they made the right call in expanding the rosters available during Brawl, and the modifiers to Brawl have made things a little more interesting. It was the main complaint most people had was that Brawl was in general kind of just it was determined on it was pretty much determined on who had the higher speed Rex, and that the creature pool was so limited that half the things were meta dominant and the other things were dead weight, and so you were pigeonholed into only having to use certain things. But that's been generally remedied. There's been a general expanse to the Brawl rosters. I think they haven't gone far enough, though. I think they should just allow all things to be, like, if you have one that has legendaries, let people use all legendaries. Because the thing is, one, not everyone will have the legendaries that will do well in Brawl, but also, this might be, it would, give those lesser known creatures some time to shine. This would also, maybe coincide with some buffs to some, lesser used creatures. Hard to think of, but especially another thing is, I don't know if this is just a me issue or whatnot, but it varies pretty dramatically the level of the creatures my opponents have. Sometimes they are on par with mine, and generally that's when it's the most fun, is when it's a even match. But then there's the plenty of times where you just either you wipe the floor with someone or you get the floor wiped with you. The in between is very rare. So Brawl often kind of leads to being either a drag or a breeze. Generally, it's a breeze if you have money and time and have sunk a lot of effort and resources into the top dogs of the meta, which it seems most people have, while everyone else who is either just starting or is me and refuses to use what is meta, they get punished for no real reason other than just, you didn't pick the right favorites, which is an unfortunate thing. But Brawl is that's something that can still be worked on, but that would lead to another bigger issue I'd like to address. Main thing is the big thing that was added was the Isle of Trials. And in general, I think it was a nice improvement. I think it's in general just kind of the natural evolution of the tutorials. Why am I forgetting? What was it? What? Yeah, the campaign. Yeah, the campaign. I feel the easel events and not the easel events. What is it? Isle of Trials. That was right. There we go. Isle of Trials. I feel like they were just kind of the natural evolution of the campaign. And I like that they've been trying to make each one unique. Like, first season was about the D-Rex, and this one was about Mutadon. Now, regardless on how I feel about Rebirth and the creatures that came out of it, and don't worry, I have my opinions on them. I'll share them later. It was nice having a little campaign-esque thing focused around it, and it's got a nice amount of difficulty. I think at times it can be maybe a little BS, just because there's especially if you're playing on the harder mode, and especially if you don't have a lot of these super relevant meta creatures highly leveled, you're going to struggle, especially since you're limited on the amount of revives you can have, and, you could revive as many creatures as you want, but you're going to be burning through bucks very, very quickly. But also, there are just some things in there that are just I never got past the Mortem Rex on hard mode, I believe. Actually, I don't even know if I got past it on the normal mode. I think in the Mutadon trial, I could not, and that's purely just my issue with that one, is just that why does it have a counter that increases its speed and its damage, and it has a distraction resistance? That's so stupid. But in general, I think Isle of Trials is a good addition, and has been I got bored of it, but that's primarily because I'm not really interested in the rewards it has available. But that's just me. I know a lot of people in general enjoy what the Isle of Trials have had. So, in general, like B, I would give Ludia like a B on this. Good job. Another recent addition has been the growth guide. This is like the newest thing added, and it's kind of fun. It's mainly there for newer players, but veteran players can also get some use out of it. It provides some extra resources, and like there's some exclusive things in it right now. Well, primarily Little Edie, which I don't care about. I'm not big on Omegas. I, in general, have felt that Omegas are still probably one of the more poorly implemented features in recent memory. But other than that, it's been pretty whatever. I do like, I forgot to mention, I do like that Brawl has allowed for, skins and whatnot. In general, they've been revamping, making it a little easier to get skins, and especially including them in the shuffle or whatnot, Dirt with Brawl, because a Brawl season ago or so, they put the Testicornibus pagan skin in there, and you bet your ass that I grinded myself into paste trying to get that, and I did succeed, and it looks amazing because this is in fact objectively the best looking skin in the game. And if you try to argue otherwise, you might be right, but I'm biased. But also, a lot of these skins are kind of either hit or miss. Like the only other skins I can think of that are like really, really good looking are like Haze for Elenkyloceratops, Chloroplast for whatever that dome-headed guy is, Blight for Ampelorex, and a few others in between. But, in general, it's been pretty samey. But the main thing most people have been complaining about, it's kind of been like this consistently for Jurassic World Life, obviously, and that has been the balancing and the creature designs. We were in that for about 2 years or so, and we're still kind of feeling the after effects of it, but we were feeling the effects of the Jam City acquirement of Ludia, and specifically because of we started noticing that some of these designs are looking like kind of garbage, and the thing is dressed well, and these balancing decisions are weird and kind of very weird and questionable. But thing is, Jurassic World Life has always had pretty questionable balance changes. I think that's just kind of goes with any game, especially along these lines. If you're a creature collection adjacent game, you're gonna have questionable balancing choices. But one of the big things for a lot of people has been the creature designs, and that they've been weird for the past couple of years. We've noticed this with especially after the Jam City acquirement of Ludia. There was news of they laid off how many people, including many of their artists, and it wasn't that much of a surprise that afterwards we started seeing creatures that were being added that were interesting choices and whatnot. The thing is, the regular prehistoric animals looked fine for the most of them were pretty passable. They've got some identity and whatnot, but the main thing people have been having issue with is the hybrid designs, and that they were not good, and they're still not good. We're still seeing some real stinkers come out of it. It's only been there's only been a few instances of like truly notably memorable hybrid designs coming out in the like past couple of years, especially in terms if we're talking apexes. Majority of the fusible apexes, which like most of them are pretty ugly, or if not ugly, just boring. Concataloc, Scunametrodon, Remocanus, Saw Panthera, so on. We keep getting new ones all the time. We've been getting new ones. We just had Centrorolophus Lux, I think, and then Aquignathus, I believe. Those ones are pretty bad. I know in particular that Aluk was also, hey Aluk, how are you doing? That Aluk was pretty upset about how Aerospinos and a couple other of these doo-doo hybrids came out. I was especially disappointed with Monolomoth. Monolomoth was especially disappointing to me. Aremocanus as well, but I think I might have complained about that last time. But Monolomoth and Aremocanus have been the big ones to me because I have a bias. I very much enjoy the mammal hybrid, like reptile mammal hybrids, Smilonemes and whatnot. They're all my favorites. You've seen my posts at some point. But like Monolomoth was especially insulting to me because I had the idea of a Monolomoth, of like Monorhino and Centelmoth Apex hybrid or something along those lines, especially, and like I wasn't the only one, but like plenty of people did, and everyone just kind of expected that a Apex with Centelmoth would use the Mammoth rig because it's a good rig. Like the Rhino rig is good. I'm not going to say it's not. It's a good rig. But the Mammoth rig is so underutilized. There are three things that use it. There's the Woolly Mammoth, Dinotherium, and Centelmoth. That's it. And it was a supreme missed opportunity. And I mean, you've probably seen some of the fan designs and redesigns of these recent hybrids, and you'd think it'd be so easy to just try a little harder. And in general, like, thing is, it's clear that the designers can make good designs, or at least designs that aren't boring, because we got things like Titanotarchus and arguably Bekeljara, where they look good. I still think Titanotarchus is a solid design. It incorporates pretty much all of the features from all the creatures involved. I especially like that they brought in the Warherosaurus's back plates, but specifically had them on the tail. Like, that was an interesting choice, and while retaining the crocodilian armor and the coloration, but also it has the Carnotaurus arm, the horns, but it still has it's got the Titanosaurus's rig, it's got the Giganotosaurus's big toothy mouth. Such a shame it's Sanctuary animation doesn't use the carnivorous sauropod, which I feel is greatly underutilized, because they made an entire new Sanctuary feeding animation just for what was it? I forgot the name for the Giganotosaurus Titanosaurus. Titanotor? Something like that. It was stupid. It was a bad name. But it has a unique feeding animation where it picks up and eats a goat. That's cool. They should utilize those unique rigs more. And speaking of utilizing unique rigs and whatnot and just diversity, let's talk about how many medium-sized theropods there have been. There's been a lot of medium-sized theropods and a lot of ceratopsians. There's a lot of those rigs, a lot of them. a lot of them, like especially since a lot of them just kind of suck because they're all so boring. Like, part of me was pretty convinced, and a few others within my clique were pretty convinced that Jam City might have been using some generative AI bullshit to help with designs. I mean, there was recent evidence of them just using it blatantly in a few months ago with the Mutadon promo video where the background was undoubtedly AI generated. Which, that sucks. And some of us have been pretty suspicious of some of the descriptions of some of these recent creatures seem to be either the result of just like a lack of creativity from whoever writes the creature descriptions, or they asked ChatGPT to do it, which, I hope that's not true. I really hope that isn't the case, but they give off, pretty, there was a very minimal amount of effort put into some of these. In general, I think some of them gotten a little better. They've gotten a little better, but not by much. I actually haven't looked at some of the recent ones. Let's look at the latest Apex release, Central Aurolphus Lux. About this creature. The investigation into the Parasaurolophus Lux's... hold on. The investigation into the Parasaurolophus Lux's natural bioluminescence ended with more questions than answered. It also yielded the Centrorolophus Lux, who shows bioluminescent stripes and a spot at the top of its crest. These can end up so distracting to potential predators that they stare long enough for the Centrolux to charge them in return. That's better. That's better, but I mean, most of that was butchered because of me, but especially there's a big difference between Centrorolophus Lux and then let's look at Ceratostegotops, who is still, in my book, one of the most wasted potential hybrid designs, because Scorpiostegotops was already pretty disappointing in a lot of areas, because where did all the you've got stegotops in your name, but I only see stegos. Where's the tops, huh? Where's the horns, huh? Where's the ceratopsian? They should have just, frankly, if they were gonna use the stegosaur build, why not just it wouldn't be that hard to put some horns and a frill on there. But whatever. But then you got Cerastegotops, which its description is boring. This crested fusion of Stegosaur and Ceratosaur bloodlines is remarkable for its mottled burgundy color. That sounds like something an AI would write, or someone who just was on a time crunch. It was I'll just throw something together about its coloration. But speaking of designs, it seems like the worst may be behind us, or at least about to be. There's been a bunch of creatures that were laid out to be released, but there's still quite a few pretty weird looking, kind of garbage looking things. Especially, I'm not really looking forward to I've already seen a bit of its design, but Baryotor and Baryosaurus and Megamimus and the Megaraptor, and just a bunch of these rebirth creatures, because we've got once again we have a Tyrannosaur bloat going on, because we've got Tyrannosaurus Rex, we've got Rexy, we've got Mortem Rex, but Mortem Rex is actually cool, so Mortem Rex doesn't get to be counted. But then you've got the 93, the Mattel Rex, you've got Big Edie, Little Edie, Buck Doe Jr., and that's already a lot. That's seven or eight or so, like, Tyrannosaurs, all sharing the same, like, they're just Tyrannosaurus Rex, just specifically Tyrannosaurus Rex. No, like, the only other new Tyrannosaur we got was Nanotyrannus, which that was a comeback, and kind of strange that how Nanotyrannus was kind of leaked and, like, was planning on being added before the paper on it came out. That was weird. But that's a story for a whole nother day. But, like, the only other new Tyrannosaurid was Nanotyrannus, and even then, it's probably closely related. But everything else has just been, we've just gotten T-Rex after T-Rex after T-Rex after T-Rex. Like, at a certain point, you gotta ask, enough is enough, And that's not including all the hybrids they have, because there's Ampelorex and Tyrannodactylus and Scunometrodon and Tyrannometrodon and all that, and undoubtedly they're adding the Rebirth Rex, like, also like, I feel some of these Rebirth creatures, I feel, are taking up too much billing. They're taking up too much space. Like, we're getting three Rebirth Spinosaurus just because the ones in the movie have slightly different patterns. Like, is that really necessary? Also, the funniest one to me is the Rebirth Raptor. That thing that had, like, less than a minute of screen time and then got killed by an uglier looking creature. I guess that's the only way to give it any kind of justice. But, like, and what that's going to inevitably lead to, more of this kind of general bloat. But I was going to briefly mention that there is some hope that the worst of it may be behind us, or at least soon to be behind us, once all this stuff from Rebirth is, gone. Specifically because of a very particular artist. Well, if I could find it. I don't know if any of you are that aware, but come on, man. I just had it pulled up. Give me one second. Give me 1 second. I just need to find it. But where is it? Joey Lesafre. I think that's how I pronounce it. If I butchered that, I'm so sorry. But Joey is was recently, as in like a few months ago, like rehired. He was one of the artists who's been working on Jurassic World Live since I think 2019, 2019, around them. His work is mainly he's made a lot of good designs. He did the Acrocanthosaurus, he did the Sinosauropteryx, Dakotaraptor, I believe, Sauronosaurus, and a bunch of others. The Centrosaurus, we're all pretty suspicious that was probably one of his designs, because it just looks good and the coloration is solid. Like, that guy does not miss. In general, I don't think he has ever really missed, and I think he's contributed some pretty good hybrid designs as well. But I would have to go and check. But which I could do that right now. But let me just pull up his. No, that's not it. Joey. Let's let me look at his art station. Stuff he made for Jurassic World Live. Or at least what's available. But yeah, he's working at Ludi again, so we'll probably start seeing some more good designs, and hopefully that'll eventually translate over to better looking hybrid designs, which here's hoping for that. But I think I've probably rambled enough, right? It's been about 30 minutes. This was just kind of, so I could get back into the swing of things, and I definitely, and I won't, I'm gonna say this right here, right now, and I'm gonna hold myself to this. I'm not gonna disappear for another year, I promise. I'm actually gonna be, actually working on this channel, including, I've had some ideas for some other videos, not just, Majunda Minute, and especially, Majunda Minute with other people on, but, maybe some actual scripted, edited videos, outside of, outside of the occasional meme and whatnot, some actual scripted videos. I have some ideas. I was especially thinking about, that years back, I made a video on this channel called a video about Forerex, I believe was the title. And I was thinking, why don't I just make that a series of just call it a video about blank hybrid or whatnot, and I just talk about design, history, reputation, usage, stuff like that. Put in some more research, maybe get some guests on, who knows? That's if anyone's willing to tolerate me again. But, there's some potential for this channel that I'd like to, expand on. I've been leaving it dormant, and I'm not exactly proud about that. I've been wanting to do some more creative expression and whatnot, so why not start here and some other places? But for what this channel's concerned, I'm back. I mean it this time though. So thank you for sitting and listening. I hope you like the new background. I made it myself. I think it's still only a temporary setup. I would like to get an animated background at some points. So if any of you animators out there, just DM me or whatnot. Tell me your prices. I'll be willing to pay. So I guess that's all. This is Majunda Minute signing off. See you around. Bye.